Dr. Chicks, and I am here today to talk about Jessica's Guide to Dating on the Dark Side by Beth Fantaschi. This book was released February 1st, 2009 by Harcourt Publishers. It has 351 pages, and it is the first book in the Jessica series. Okay, so Jessica is basically your normal teenage girl. She has a best friend, she goes to school on a daily basis, and she has a crush on the most gorgeous guy around. She's planning on having the most normal senior year that she can possibly have, complete with going to football games, doing activities like 4-H. But on the first day of the senior year, a new guy shows up and starts making ridiculous accusations toward Jessica. Lucius is claiming that Jessica is a princess, that they are betrothed, and if they don't complete a pact that's been set since they were born, they will set two regions on a warpath. But Jessica cannot stand Lucius, even if he is completely gorgeous. Because not only is he incredibly rude, she's also questioning his sanity. Lucius is claiming to be a vampire, and even more ridiculous, he's claiming that Jessica is one too. If Jessica starts to believe Lucius, or even worse, marries him, then she will be forfeiting a life that she has been dreaming about. But if she doesn't, she will be sacrificing the lives of thousands of others. Okay, so I really liked Jessica's Guide to Dating on the Dark Side. I just want to say right now that it is nothing like I expected it would be. This cover is it's a really pretty cover, I thought at first, and the titles, it makes it sound pretty interesting, but it in no way describes the depth that this book goes into. It makes it look like this is just some teeny romance that has to do with vampires, and it is not that way at all. Okay, so let's talk about the characters. I absolutely adored Lucius. He is one of my favorite vampire characters now. He kind of has such a chivalrous attitude toward Jessica, and it just makes him so charming. And then he has such a strong personality that it makes him really hard not to hate and love at the same time. Jessica is also a really good main character. She is very strong, she doesn't give up, and she is very firm in what she believes in, and I don't think a lot of teenage girls really have that. They don't really know what they believe in, but Jessica does. She knows what she thinks is true, and it is very hard for people to sway her off her path when she decides what she wants to do. She's very realistic. I mean, I know if I had someone who would claim to be a vampire, I don't even know. I don't really know what I would do for sure, but I would be freaking out. Like, just because I've read so much paranormal, it would just be so much easier for me to wrap my mind around it, but she's so realistic in the way that she acts, and I love that. So with this strong main character and this equally strong supporting character in Lucius, you have this crazy chemistry between the two characters, and I think that that chemistry just flows right off of the pages right into your soul, and it's so good. The characters are amazing. Now let's talk about the plot. First of all, this plot takes so many twists and turns that I did not see coming. Like I said, when I saw the cover of this and kind of read the title and the synopsis, it kind of seemed a little more shallow than it actually is. But in fact, it is a lot deeper than it seems, and that depth goes through every single plot line, every single little tiny thing that happens, and every word in this book counts for something towards the end, and it is so ridiculous how well everything kind of unfolds and wraps itself, and it actually goes a lot further than I expected. I don't want to say anything because of spoilers, but if you've read it, you probably know what I mean. I didn't expect stuff that happens to happen so soon, because normally when you have a series, the first book is strongly introduction, and then the main stuff happens in either the second or the third if it's a trilogy. But a lot of stuff happens in this book, which makes me so excited to read the next one, because if this is just the beginning of this series and all this stuff has happened, all this crazy chemistry has been created, I cannot wait to see where it goes and how far Beth Fantaschi is going to take it. The writing of this book was fantastic because, like I said, there's very strong chemistry in the plot and in the characters, and that is all in the writing. You cannot just, it's not a movie. You can't make up chemistry from a book. From a movie, you can kind of imagine a little bit more chemistry than you can from a book. So if you have a book with as much chemistry as this book has, I feel, then it is all in the writing, and I will now read anything that Beth Fantasky writes because her writing, when I read the book, I dived right into it. It doesn't take long for you to start picturing what's going on. You don't focus on reading. I don't even remember looking at words, honestly. I was just picturing moments in my head as I was reading them, and I devoured this book. The whole time I was reading, I was so curious as to how it was actually going to end, especially with some of the twists and turns that are pushed in, and I absolutely love the way that this book ended. It's such a cliffhanger, but you still feel so wrapped up at the same time, and I just think that this was a great ending to a great book, and if you have not read this book, it is something that you need to be reading immediately because it is very, very good. So I am Jessica with Chapter Chicks. This is my review over Jessica's Guide to Dating on the Dark Side by Beth Fantasky. This chapter was for you.